All right, hello everybody. This is Dave Reed with Sailing World Magazine. We've got a special edition of our Around the Sailing World. We have completely checked in with, I think, the entire organizing squad with the Storm Trysail Club, organizes a Block Island Race Week presented by Margaritaville, plus a couple extra faces. Let's turn to our first timers then, I guess, Brian and Kara, checking in from Norwalk, Connecticut, and you guys have from what I've understand, have entered the X382, which is, I'm not sure if it's new to you, but it's I'm sure it's a boat that's been around for a good bit. And what's your Block Island story? I guess you're now a chip off the block, and what brought you there, and what's your story?
Sure. Well, the first thing I just learned is that we need to get a trailer. I hadn't anticipated that as part of the prep for Block Island Race Week, but I'll get right on that. Unfortunately, I just missed the Defender warehouse sale for all those extra parts, but I'm sure I can figure that out. No, so Karen and I, we actually met sailing in college. We were dinghy sailors. My dad was a powerboater growing up, so we didn't have all that much, I didn't have much big boat sailing experience, so our first foray into that was when we were in college. We had sailed in the IOR regatta that the Storm Trysail Club puts on. And we found out, very quickly, we loved racing big boats. And so, we lived in DC for a while. When we moved up here, we were close to the water. And we could do it. We bought a Sabre 30, and we raced that for a couple years. I think that boat was, it was a good boat, but it was at the end of its life. And so, when we had a chance, we upgraded to this boat, and it's been great. And then I think it was pretty cool. 2 years ago, we put our boat back into the IOR program, and so we had a bunch of students from McGill racing in that boat. And probably we'll have them in some of the regattas coming up. So that's been great. And then this boat, we spent the last 2 years kind of learning how to sail it. It's been a pretty big step up to a 38-foot boat and racing that. But we've kind of entered in everything that we can enter in. And we've been doing a lot of racing, including with our 2-year-old son. We figured out very quickly you can strap a car seat to the aft rail. And we had him out there with us.
He prefers the jack lines though, because you can run up and down the length of the boat and you can yell at your competition. So it does kind of throw them off.
Yeah, so he particularly likes some mark roundings. When you're turning the corner at at the leeward mark, he'll start yelling at you and your competition to grind harder. So that's been fun. So yeah, that's kind of how we ended up here. And our crew, we've kind of gone from both places of having experienced crew that we did the whole thing where we had people that would say they were going to show up, didn't show up. We've had and then we've had really committed crew, and we kind of ended up probably, what was that, 2 years ago? We decided to take on a whole bunch of folks who hadn't really had much sailing experience before.
No sailing experience.
Never
stepped in a boat.
But the thing we were prioritizing for is we wanted to have a reliable set of people.
Very reliable. No experience, very reliable. So we were like, we'll take you guys.
And so we spent the last couple of years kind of training up this group of people that hadn't sailed before. And we've had them on our boat, and it's actually been great. It's been really rewarding, teaching people, introducing them to the sport. And then, for a lot of people, they'd never been to any of these regattas, never been to a yacht club, when we do some of these races. And I think it was great, like having, introducing them to this life. Karen and I kind of live sailing. We love sailing. We spend, every day we try to get in the boat like 5 days a week in the summer. And so Block Island Race Week came around. I've been going to Block Island since I was a kid, never raced in the race week, but I've always wanted to. And, we said we have to do it. There's, it doesn't really matter if there's COVID restrictions, of course there's going to be COVID restrictions. Like, it's been kind of like a bucket list event that we want to do. And so, we signed up. And then I think we're also really excited because some of those crew who, we brought up sailing on our boat, this is going to be their first, week-long regatta. And so we're going to be, staying on our boat. It's probably going to be some close quarters, but it's like, I think it's gonna be a great experience for them and for us. So we're pretty excited for it.
That's awesome. I think that's we've been talking about years about that's I think it's one thing that's really been missing from the sport, and that's great about this event is trying to bring back, especially given the housing costs of more liveaboards, and people just, hey, you race what you're sleeping on, and that's really part of the fun, and I think speaks to the adventure and just the, I guess, the escapism of Margaritaville, right? So kind of a perfect fit. And
it's funny to that end. We're having a debate right now with right now we can sleep 6 people in berths, right? And we're having a debate of like, the boat sails best with 8, 8 to 9. And there are people who are like, well, we can sleep up in the cockpit. Someone else is like, we get like one of those camping air mattresses. We could throw them down on the salon floor. How are we going to allocate the beds? But I think I once at the boat base, and I strung a hammock up between 2 pilings and had a pretty interesting night doing that when it was blowing about 30 knots. But I'm sure we'll figure it out, and we're really excited to have a great time and meet a bunch of folks. One of the other things that we didn't really mention was like a lot of the people I grew up when I grew up, I sailed at Greenwich High School, and there's a whole bunch of folks that I had sailed with in that era that are now they either own boats or they're crewing on boats, and so I'm also excited to start seeing them at events like this. So that's going to be exciting as well.
Awesome. So where have you got your slip assignment, and where are you guys going to be tied up in? Did you find that will the party gather around you, or were you guys seeking the party elsewhere?
We currently have a reservation of Payne's. I'm hoping it's not in that one slip in the parking lot where the light from the parking lot like blares down on you.
I requested that specifically.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll be right there.
So so we're at Payne's. A little worried about, we want to have practice days and everything, and sometimes you really get boxed in there. So hopefully we'll be able to get there late enough that we're on the outside. But yeah, when we go to block, we like to say at Payne's, if you can get a slip at the boat base, that's great, but it's like almost impossible, especially because we kind of do let things last minute, or we'll anchor out or grab a mooring. I actually didn't know, how hard is it to grab a mooring during race week? Like, are people, pretty good about that, or is it? I figured it was either anchor out or be at Payne's.
Yeah, the anchoring always makes things interesting for those trying to find their way back to the back to the boat after Yellow Kittens. But so yeah, I think you're safe at Payne's. That everybody will find a place to sleep. So that was a good, smart move there for a first timer.
Yeah.
So real quickly, so you sail the boat with 8. You guys are doing the pursuit start, I guess, right? And have you run through your crew on how this is all going to go, or are you just going to get out there and see what happens?
The group that we're bringing is kind of like some of the core members of the crew that have been there a lot, and then also we prioritize on who helped us, sand the bottom, and we redid the teak on the boat this year. We had to recock it, so who was there with the most weekends, sanding and all that. But we're gonna have our leg out, 100 miles to practice and everything. And then one of the things that we've been pretty thankful of is stepping up to a boat this big. The first couple of years we didn't race spinnakers just because we want to keep everything under control. But we've had a fair amount of mentors. We're members at Norwalk Yacht Club, and there's been a fair amount of people that have offered to come out and teach us stuff on the boat, teach us all the tricks of the trade. And so the last year we started racing the spinnaker class. And so I think for this we'll have a good group of people who've been familiar with the boat, and then we'll have 100 miles on the way out to practice spinnaker drops and tacking and jibing. Well, not tacking with the spinnaker, but jibing, etc.
Yeah. Spinnaker drops overrated, as long as it stays in the boat, you're all good, right?
Yeah, and we also have an asymmetric and a symmetric. So when things get really sporty, we either put the asymmetric out, or we'll just pull out the Genoa.
Outstanding. And is your is he still 2-year-old son, or is it maybe older by then, or whatever? What's his role in the boat, or what are you going to do with him when you're not racing, or when you're racing?
He's still 2 years old, but that's to be determined. We might bring him, we might not.
Yeah, his favorite spot is back at the helm with me, or trying to grind on the winch, which we try to keep him away from when it's windy out.
All right, so this sounds like it could be a parental escape weekend. So good luck if you can pull that off. It'd be great. That's what the beauty of grandparents and friends and family, right? To let you go play for a week and have a great story to come home and tell, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, all right, we'll see you at Haynes, I guess. And In the meantime, I get, so the final question for you then would be, how do you possibly prepare your food and beverage program for this size of crew and your given your living conditions?
I got a great cookbook called the Cruising Chef Cookbook, which has, I believe, a 3-week plan for if you're crossing the Atlantic.
I don't like this cookbook.
Kara doesn't like it that much,
No.
but luckily, with the crew, we dealt. What we'll probably do is have a cooking competition for every single day. I've actually modified this from other trips we've done, and we have one person who's responsible for every day and the ingredients. Part of the challenge is we're trying to minimize weight. You can't bring all that much stuff on board, and it sucks to go to the grocery store. At 4:30 when you get back in, you want to have Mac and tonic. So we're gonna have levers that you'll have to pull, but I'm sure we'll figure it out. It'll be pretty fun.
Back up.
All right.
Bean shakes.
Yeah. So I see Ed shaking his head, being like, "Oh God," So maybe just screw the trailer of parts idea, and just a trailer full of food and beer and a grill, and just and send
That
it down.
sounds very reasonable. Yeah.
The good news is, as a good backup, Rebecca's at Payne's is pretty good. They have some good takeout food there.
And the beauty is, that don't forget, there's 150 something or 60 teams out there doing the same thing, and there's crew houses, and you make friends and you get your invitations, and you scatter yourself around the island. People will find a way to get fed and drink, right?
Yep.
That true, Ed?
Absolutely.
All right. Where's your house, and can they come find you, or are you keeping that undisclosed?
Yeah. State secret.
So, all right, Ed, your turn.
Actually, we're fellow Norwalk Yacht Club members, so those guys are welcome. I'll give them the inside dope. They're welcome in our house.
There you go. And pitch a tent out there, no problem. I'm sure like Block Island houses all have outdoor showers. So as long as you got a way to get to Ed's house, then I think you got your accommodations are all set.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Ed. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we do have the luxurious transom shower in our boat, so that works out pretty well for the crew as well.
We'll fix you up, guys. Don't worry.